This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Forest Ramble podcast and another trip down memory lane. This time, Stephen Toplis takes us back in time 10 years.
My trip down memory lane takes us back to a cold and snowy night in January 2010 when Forest went to West Bromwich Albion and put in one of the most complete displays we've seen from a Forest team in the modern era. It really was something memorable, and I remember this game being live on Sky, and it was a real statement of intent for Forest at the time when they'd gone into this game as promotion contenders, but they really did cement their position as promotion favourites. They were fantastic this night, and to give a little bit of context, it's easy to forget that this season came off the back of Forest only just staying in the Championship, with Colin Calderwood leaving, Billy Davies coming in, keeping Forest up, and then going into the next season. And after a slightly tough start, they from September onwards got into their stride and were well in the promotion hunt by the time they went to West Brom, who at the time were second in the table, and Forest knew that with a win they would leapfrog their hosts and go into the automatic promotion places. So it was all up for grabs for Forest, even though this was a very good West Brom team with the likes of Scott Carson, Chris Brunt, Graham Dorrans in there, and also a couple of future Forest faces in the form of Gonzalo Jara and Simon Cox. But Forest went with a 4-5-1, I remember, with Blackstock up front on his own and Radi Majewski just playing off him sort of in the number 10 position, and Cohen, McKenna, Moosey and Anderson across the midfield. So Forest went there, and from the off they were in control of this one, and Dexter Blackstock getting on the end of a Majewski corner to steer the ball home on the volley, and Forest were in front, and they got that early goal that was so crucial. Forest were pretty much in control of this game right the way through, and McKenna and Moosey in particular were dominant in the midfield. They made life hard for West Brom and never really gave them the opportunity to get into their stride. And you could certainly, I remember hearing the kind of the West Brom fans were getting on their players' backs because of how good Forest were. It was in the second half though where it really got memorable. About 10 minutes after the restart, Radi Majewski scored one of the most memorable goals I think a Forest player has ever scored. It started with Guy Moosey, who won the ball in midfield. The ball kind of found its way out to the right flank for Chris Gunter to carry it forward. He crossed to the back post where Majewski met it, first time on the volley, smashed the ball in off the crossbar, and 2-0 up. It was a brilliant goal at such a crucial moment, and Forest were flying at this stage. And it was only 3 minutes later, it got even better. Crisp passing opened up West Brom. Forest really good on the ball, moving it around. The ball came to Chris Cohen, who from about 20 yards out hit a precise shot that went in just off the post. And at this point we were in dreamland. And if you watch the footage back, just watch the Forest fans behind the goal as this shot from Cohen goes in. It's pure delirium, and it's fantastic to watch. And Cohen goes off, celebrates in front of them, and it was just an incredible moment and a real statement of intent from Forest, where they were going to a promotion rival and putting them to the sword. Now, Bednar did score a consolation for West Brom with about 25 minutes to go, but by that stage, the game was already won by Forest, and on the night they were fantastic, and probably one of the best performances we've seen from a Forest team in the last 20 years. Certainly, I would say the best performance of the Billy Davies era, and also one of our best away performances for a long time. With this win, Forest went above West Brom and into the promotion places. In the end, West Brom leapfrogged Forest again. They took the second automatic promotion place behind Newcastle. Forest had to settle for the playoffs, and as we all know, the curse of the playoffs struck again. But For 90 minutes on a cold and bitter January evening, it felt like Forest were on the cusp of something very, very special. And this is a performance you can look back on and enjoy every time you see it.
Hey guys, Mike here, a friend from the podcast of Cheebly's Playground. It's a podcast about board games, pasta, and a whole lot of fun. You can find out about sweet new games that are coming out, sweet old games that have been out for a while, and the best favorites. Who knows? Someone might even get a golden hoodie. Matt, tell them where you can find them.
You can find us at Cheebly's Podcast at Twitter and Instagram. And also you can find us on Cheebly'sPlayground.com.
Wow, you guys nailed it.
Good job, good job.
Nailed it.
I got an IMDb page, so...